So there's an economic freedom index that is published every year by Heritage and by the Fraser Institute in Canada. And the United States 15 years ago was number 3 in the world after Hong Kong and Singapore. And let me just say, 3 in the world is not a big deal because we live in a pretty statist, collectivist, controlled world. So the United States was not exactly a capitalist heaven 15 years ago. But still, it was number 3. We're number 18 right now. 18 in 15 years. Countries doing better than us. Canada. In spite of their health care, Canada is reducing government spending as a percent of GDP significantly over the last 15, 20 years. Is deregulated, has a much healthier and less regulated banking system than ours. And even in health care, they are starting at the margins to privatize, just as we are heading full on into socialism. Sweden. Sweden has the last, since the late 90s, shrinking government spending, eliminating regulation. Do you know that they have school vouchers in Sweden? Nationwide. Now, the government controls all the schools still, the curriculum and stuff, but you as a parent can choose which school to send your kids to. Of course, Singapore and Hong Kong are still way ahead of us in terms of economic freedom, way ahead. Even when we were number 3, we were behind Singapore and Hong Kong. You know, even countries that look like they're much worse than us. I was just in Denmark, where they have some of the highest marginal income tax rates in the world, but they're a lot less regulated than us. It's easier to start a business in Scandinavian Denmark than it is in the United States of America. Now that is pathetic. Now, let me add that none of those countries, in my view, are free. That is, my standard is, you know, as free as we were 100 years ago, or better, freer than we were 100 years ago. I'd like to see us have real capitalism in this country. But even on the relative scale, we're losing it. And a lot of it has to do with regulations, by the way. I think regulations are much worse than taxes. If you had to do one thing today, it's get rid of regulations. And all we're doing is massively increasing the level of regulation. And again, Republicans vote for this stuff. They don't vote against it. Sarbanes-Oxley 98 is 0. Dodd-Frank, some Republicans voted for. But these things, you have to massively deregulate. This is what, of all people, you know, this is what started in the 70s. Jimmy Carter, you're Jimmy Carter, I guess, you get credit. I don't think was as bad a president as people think. Because Jimmy Carter massively deregulated the US economy. People forget this. Ronald Reagan gets all the credit. But it was Jimmy Carter who deregulated the airlines, deregulated trucking, deregulated financial services industry, brokerage firms. A lot of that happened during the 70s. And it's not an accident that just a few years afterwards, the economy took off. When you free people up, regulation is a gun at the back of business. When you take that gun away, when you take that force and coercion away, and you let people execute, then our economy booms.